Hey everybody! Hey everybody! I do apologize. I may have been speaking for quite some time now, and you couldn't hear me. um. Well, then maybe I should just start over here. So I should say welcome, and now that we got a few people here, welcome. This is Emotions for Dummies. Emotions for Dummies, and I am the host of Emotions for Dummies, Dr. Donnie. I'm a sociology professor at CSU East Bay here in Hayward, a tenured sociology professor, I should say. And I am also going back to school to become a counselor. And so I teach these free classes on Thursdays from 4 to 6. And I have 3 sets of classes I teach: a beginner Emotions for Dummies, a regular Emotions for Dummies, and an advanced Emotions for Dummies. And if you make it all the way to the advanced series, you get a free workbook called the Book of You, from which it's a workbook I'm putting together, and it's the workbook from which all these classes come from. Okay, and we're going to go into that in a bit. In fact, the workbook for this class is a selection of those exercises. So let me pull up the Emotions for Dummies workbook for our class. And since you all didn't hear me earlier, because I forgot to turn that microphone button on, I asked, how's everybody doing today? How are you doing? You are welcome to speak or not speak, answer it or not answer it, turn your microphone on or type, whatever you're comfortable with. This is all about getting comfortable with your feelings. But I'm just going to put it out there. How are you feeling today? And then I was saying I'm feeling a combination of exhausted and scatterbrained. I'm feeling exhausted and scatterbrained at the same time. So how are you feeling today? Share screen. Good. Good to be here. Right on. Right on. Anyone else? How you're feeling today? Let's take a moment. How are you feeling today? In case anyone didn't ask you, maybe no one asked you today. I really want to know. Just take a moment and make space for that. How are you feeling today? Okay. And today, let's see, where are we in our process here? We are 1, 2, 3 from the end. 3 from the end. So 1, 2. Well, 3 from the end is 1, 2. We should probably do one of these here. Okay, here we go. Okay, why don't we do number 8 today? It'll be week 6. So as you can see, as we've been going through this, I just like to explain this here. We've been, week 1, we went over a self-care plan where we talked about what is self-care, how to take care of ourselves in a bunch of different ways. Then we had a list of emotions. We just looked over a whole list of emotions. Then in week 2, we had an intro to meditation, in case you never meditated before. And then an exercise on how to tell yourself the truth using feelings, anger, hurt, fear, understanding, and love. Okay. Then week 3, we had exercises on healing from trauma, such as tapping or yoga or EMDR. Okay. Week 4 was a Byron Katie Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, which I remember that day. I'm having memories of that day. That was a couple of weeks ago. And week 5 was self-love, acceptance, and validation. Okay, I believe that was yesterday. That was last week's exercise, was the self-love exercise. And then today we're going to do meditating on emotions, or emotional Vipassana. Okay, so first thing, just note, this whole class is on learning emotions, and we don't actually get to emotions in and of themselves until we get to the 6th week, exercise number 8. Okay, so just take note of that. Emotions really are that hard. You need that much prep work to deal with your feelings, to just deal with your feelings. It's really that hard. Okay, so just to validate yourself there on this journey. Okay, so if you feel like reading along, you are more than welcome. If you are tired, if you're not feeling like reading along, the goal of this is to get in touch with your feelings. So if you are more than willing to just get comfortable, close your eyes if you like. Let these words bypass the brain and go into the heart. That's what we're going to need today, our heart. We're dealing with our feelings. Emotions are a fundamental part of how we develop knowledge to understand ourselves and the world. They determine the quality of our lives. Some people call emotions the guideposts of life because they teach us what our boundaries are. In fact, you could say that every day, every moment, we live in an emotional universe that uses how we feel to guide us through life. We know this because an emotional communication is always taking place alongside any verbal or other communication. There is always what is said and what is felt. Or, as the late great Maya Angelou used to say, people may forget what you said, they may even forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Emotions are part of the deeper back brain of your limbic system, amygdala, and most importantly, the heart. The heart is actually surrounded by several neurons that control your heartbeat and your feelings. These are the parts of you that were around when you were a tiny baby and did not have a developed prefrontal cortex. As a baby, you were born completely helpless, yet highly emotionally developed. So as babies, we all struggle to deal with intense emotions, even when we can barely think or control our bodies. Thus, emotional recognition and connection is fundamental to life. This is why babies need loving touch in order to survive, and why love is a deep need for all of us. Because our brain only perceives thoughts, feelings, sensations, and images, our emotional system can only respond to our thoughts, giving them a corresponding emotional weight we perceive as reality. This means fundamentally, emotions are always the byproduct of something you are thinking. Our beliefs shape what feels real for us. I didn't believe this until I tested it out, and it appears to be true. We have a thought about something, and then we produce a feeling in relation to that thought. So we think, I hate broccoli, then we see broccoli and feel sick. Without the thought happening first, there could not be an emotional reaction. Even if you get a sudden emotional reaction like curiosity or a bad vibe, even if you are totally right about the person or situation, your reaction is still in response to the thoughts you had, even if the thoughts were unconscious. Some of our most powerful emotional reactions are from our unconscious thoughts. We produce a feeling so that we are prompted into action, like saying, I won't eat it, or running away. Since feelings determine our quality of life, it's always think, feel, act, have. Okay, that's a lot of good stuff there. Okay, our emotional system can only respond to our thoughts. And then since feelings, so thinking, then feeling leads to action, and then your actions add up to what you have in life. So it's always think, feel, act, have. Many of us, and especially if you were born male, are taught not to feel in our society. All of us on some level have been taught to suppress, deny, or evade emotions because they are inconvenient, too difficult, or secondary to our other life responsibilities. When we don't feel our emotions, they build up under the surface or hide behind walls, meaning a little on top can mean a lot underneath. Since our feelings are our connection to our true self, not listening to your feelings is a kind of self-abandonment. Your own feelings may not trust you and go into denial or develop secondary emotions to cover up the emotions you can't handle, like getting angry when you are hurt or afraid when you are vulnerable. You may also become extremely judgmental, feel numb all the time, develop addictions, or pursue unhealthy relationships. Becoming an adult involves taking responsibility for yourself, being financially independent, making your own mistakes, letting go of other people's responsibilities, and taking responsibility for our own feelings. If you have been through anything traumatic or your boundaries were ever majorly violated, your emotional guidance system can go haywire. Trauma disrupts how the two parts of your brain interact and can lead to hyperarousal, obsessive thinking, and memory emotional flashbacks that can severely disrupt your sense of reality. You may be extra sensitive to others' emotions, like an empath or a rescuer, or identify with an emotion, like an angry person, a victimized person. Abuse, emotional boundary violations, can teach us to accept self-boundaries that leave us hurt, afraid, codependent, helpless, or empty. If we were not taught how to deal with our feelings, then this damage can lay underneath any kind of healthy boundaries we use to build our adult lives. Emotions all come from the same place. It's not like some come from the heart and some come from your butt. So, when you block yourself from feeling an emotion, like something sad or traumatic, you block yourself from feeling all your other emotions too. Instead of judging our emotions as good, bad, right, wrong, it may be better to see our emotions as an infinite palette of different colors. And each experience of our emotional universe brings us closer to a full painting of life. Or we have to feel all our feels so that we can heal. Since feelings come from thoughts and thoughts are not real, we can question if any feeling is real as well. In Buddhism, sitting with our thoughts, whatever they are, without trying to fight, change, or deny them, is called the practice of equanimity. For example, if I feel angry but couldn't call it anger, it might be called hurt. If I couldn't call it hurt, it might be fear. If I kept digging like this, it would become stuck, then uncomfortable, just a feeling I don't like, just what is, a feeling, just what is, then nothingness. This works great, however. This old school approach leads many spiritual people to detach from thoughts and feelings as a way to avoid or invalidate others, which is called spiritual bypassing. If the majority of our thoughts are negative, or if we have been through abuse or trauma, just sitting in silence can trigger you. Since feelings come from the heart, not the brain, we can stop using thoughts to analyze our feelings and instead bring them into our heart and process them directly through our body. This is called emotional meditation or emotional Vipassana. Our emotional system, our emotional universe, works generally in terms of negative and positive. So while there are many emotions, all emotions have their opposite. Feeling through the emotion and its opposite can retrain your emotional guidance system by breaking up old or distorted thought-feeling patterns. Simply building our capacity to feel can greatly help us to take responsibility for our lives and give us space to love ourselves. Okay, so let me just explain what we're going to do here. We're going to pick an emotion, and then we're going to just practice feeling it. Simple as that. We're going to practice feeling the emotion, scanning our body. Then we'll bring that emotion into our heart. Then we're going to examine the opposite emotion and sit with that in the same way. And then give ourselves some validation statements. Okay, just so that's the verbal explanation of what we're about to do. But now here's the actual meditation. So just notice your breath. Just notice your breath. So watch it rise and fall. Notice your mind. Wherever you're at in this moment, just be present with whatever you're feeling. Your mind may be doing all sorts of things. You may be feeling all sorts of things, or feeling nothing at all. Whatever you're experiencing right now, just be with it. So when I asked how people were feeling, someone told me good. So I think we'll practice that one first. So good to be here, good to be here, good to be here, good to be here. How do you feel when you say I'm good to be here? If you don't currently feel good to be here, imagine a situation where you would say that. Maybe maybe you showed up to school and you knew you had an important project and you were going to ace it, so you were good to be here. Or good to be here. Good to be here. Maybe you got invited to a party and maybe you really weren't going to go because you're too busy, but you made some time in your schedule. You made some time in your schedule and you showed up, and the person who invited you says, "Hey, you made it," and you say, "Yeah, I found some time. Good to be here. Good to be here. Good to be here. To be here. Good to be here. Good to be here." What other situation would I say good to be here? Uh, maybe you belong to a group. They all planned a yearly vacation somewhere. You weren't gonna go because again, you're just too busy, right? But then you show up at the airport and everyone just about to get on the plane, and then you suddenly show up on the airport and they say, "Hey, you're coming," and you say, "Yeah, I made some changes. I can do it now. It's good to be here. Good to be here." See what it feels like to say good to be here. Scan your body. Your brain, your heart, your shoulders. Just see what it feels like to say good to be here. And whatever you felt about good to be here, really bring those feelings into your heart. The head can imagine a story, but the feelings all go into the heart. Let it drip down from the brain into the heart. Get in touch with this feeling. Not here to judge, just here to notice. Let it just sink into your heart. Okay, pause for a moment. Maybe pop out of it for a little bit. And then, what would the opposite of good to be here be? And you want to pick an opposite that works for you, because somebody's opposite of good would be bad, so bad to be here. Someone else's opposite of good could be difficult. Difficult. Another opposite of good is um, uh, poor. 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 There's lots of different. The word good has lots of nuances, and so it has lots of opposites that are nuances also. Take a moment and see what the opposite of good to be here would be for you. The opposite of good to be here could be, I hate it here, right? I hate it here. I like that one. I hate it here. I hate it here. I hate it here. See what you feel. See what you feel when you say, I hate it here. Scan your body, head to toe. If you don't feel that way right now, imagine a situation where you would say, I hate it here. I'm imagining like a teenager, like a teenage boy or girl. They're being told they can't do something. They're all angry and they're storming to their room and they say, I hate it here. Yeah, yeah. I hate it here. I hate it here. Maybe I hate it here. 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 The last time I said something like that, I was walking around San Francisco. I had just left the. I went to see the SF opera, not the opera, the symphony, the orchestra. Okay, sat with all these super wealthy people and saw this orchestra. Super wealthy white people and saw this orchestra. The only like black person in the whole room. We leave the auditorium, the concert hall, and across the street was a whole row of people shooting up heroin. Crack addict, heroin junkie, just junkie city across the street. And as we were walking to the outside, several of those rich people looked at me like dirt. Okay. We get outside and I look over at the homeless drug addicts across the street. The rich people didn't even recognize any of the homeless people as people. It was almost like, honestly, they were literally just rags. Like the way I would look at, just scraps of trash on the ground, that's exactly how these rich people looked at these drug addicts. Okay, these homeless people. Okay. So I had to first they looked at me like I was garbage, and then they looked at them like that. And at that moment, cause I had plans on going to get a drink after this, but at that moment I said, I hate being here. I hate it here. It was also very cold, San Francisco at night. So I said, I hate it here. I looked at all this, the rich people and the judgment and the homeless people and the drug addicts and the smell and the nighttime being cold. And I said, I hate it here. I hate it here. Let yourself feel it. Let yourself feel it. I didn't have this tool to give myself this emotional validation then. Okay, I have it now. Let yourself feel it. I hate it here. Whatever came up for you, let yourself feel it. Scan your body. Maybe your forehead tightens up. I repeatedly made my hands into a fist just now. I'm slamming, I'm pounding my thighs. I'm angry. I have this heat building up inside of me in my chest and my shoulders. I want to leave, but I can't. And whatever you felt about I hate it here, bring that feeling into your heart. Bring that feeling into your heart. Let all those thoughts drip down from the brain. Let all that energy drip down into your heart. Okay. Take a moment and pop out of it for a second. Excuse me, and go back to good to be here. Good to be here. And just notice the range between those feelings. That is the range of your whole emotional universe. That must have been a horrible experience. It was. It was. And at the same time, I can say it's every single day of living in San Francisco. That is just normal, everyday San Francisco life. I lived there for a year. I decided I could not do that anymore, so I moved to other places in the Bay Area. And thank you for validating my experience. Also, as I'm seeing right now, I didn't really validate my feelings. I just kind of got mad and just left. I didn't really validate any of this, so I'm really glad we're doing this now. So let's give ourselves some validation for feeling these feelings. I have every right to feel good to be here. I have every right to feel I hate it here. Whatever it is. Anyone who went through what I went through would feel that way. I love myself when I'm good to be here. I love myself even when I hate it here. Love is still here for me even when I hate it here. I don't totally understand why I feel the way I feel about being good to be here. I don't totally understand how I feel about hating it here. And I don't have to. I can give it time. These feelings deserve time and space and rest.
Hey, can you hear me, Donnie?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. This is my first time on the Zoom meeting, but I read about it, and so I'm kind of interested in learning.
Wonderful. Well, welcome. So we're going through some validation statements here. So this is a big part of any emotional exercise is to give yourself validation. What's that? What'd you say?
Quiet, I'm on a Zoom meeting, please. I'm here. I'm just in my phone. I'm in the car with my friend right now.
Oh, great. Wonderful. Well, feel free to listen and just take in what we're experiencing here. The big part of today's class is just sitting with our feelings, emotional meditation. So,
nice.
So just take it in and just kind of relax and go along with the process here and just see what comes up for you as we go along. Okay. And if you have any questions or anything, feel free to let me know. Okay. So let's keep giving ourselves some validation here for these feelings. So these are all statements we can say to ourselves at any time, right? When we're feeling things, we often just sort of feel it and then we just kind of like move on, or we don't even really feel it, right? So it's to really learn a new way of being, we have to not only make space to feel, we also have to validate what we are feeling. Okay, so a couple more here. I don't need anyone's approval to be okay with being good to be here. I don't need anyone's approval to be okay with hating it here. And then my personal favorite one is I let go of feeling good to be here. I let go of hating it here. I let go of everything because love is letting go. Okay, so you see how that worked? We felt through it. We tried the opposite emotion. We felt that. And then we gave ourselves some validation for what we were feeling, right? Okay, so let's try that again. Does anybody have an emotion you'd like to say you're feeling or something you want to work through or Want to name an emotion? Anybody want to name an emotion?
Happiness.
Okay. Wonderful. Happiness. 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 Let go and let yourself feel happiness. If you currently don't feel happiness, then imagine a situation where you would feel happiness. What's a situation where I would feel happiness? Well, to be quite honest with you, today there was a very long line at McDonald's, and then I ordered an apple fritter and a coffee. And when I got my order, I was very happy. Happiness.
That's a hard one, though. If I gave you a negative emotion, it's kind of how about depression?
Well, an important part of this is that you go one emotion at a time. There are a lot of emotions, and it takes it takes time to sit with each one. So let's just focus on happiness first.
Okay.
And then we'll explore that one here. Yeah. So happiness, just really sit with it. Happiness. You said it's an easy one, but some of us got a hard time with happiness. Oh, someone's example is when you meet a cute guy. Yes, you were just kind of hanging out, and then you're at the bar or wherever you are, and then suddenly somebody with nice teeth and dimples just walks right past you and looks at you. Happiness. That's funny. And if nice teeth and dimples aren't your thing, then whatever is your thing, whatever that is, long hair or muscles or nice butt, whatever it is for you. Walks by, you see happiness. Happiness. Just feel it. Happiness. Maybe maybe you knew some money was coming into your account, but you didn't know how much. And you go to check the account, and good Lord, there are 5 digits. There's like an extra $15,000-$20,000 suddenly in your bank account, and you feel happiness. Happiness. Whatever that is for you. So many things we could think of would be happiness. Let yourself feel it. Scan your body, head to toe. Where do you feel happiness? Maybe your eyebrows relax a little. Maybe your heart lifts up just a little bit. When you're on a diet and you lost 10 pounds, happiness, whatever it is for you. Whatever it is for you. Okay, just scan your body. Happiness. Maybe your shoulders relax. Happiness. Happiness. If I sink down into it, my knees almost feel like they want to lift me out the chair, like I'm ready to go do something. Happiness. And whatever you feel about happiness, bring that feeling into your heart. Not just thoughts in your brain. Let all that energy flow down into your heart. Let it flow down like raindrops or like a river just going into your heart. Our heart tells us how we feel, not our brain. And your heart might do all sorts of things here. It might open, you might move, you might see colors. Just open up to it. And if you're willing, slow it down. Slow it down and just keep bringing it into your heart. That is what happiness feels like for you. Okay, and take a moment. Pop out of it for a little bit. And ask yourself, what is the opposite of happiness? What would your opposite be? You know, everybody's got a different opposite. Yeah, what's your opposite?
My opposite would be, I would say sadness, but I also would say anger.
Okay. Sadness and anger. And also just note earlier you were like, what's a hard emotion like depression? So we can just tie all that together there. Sadness and anger. Sadness and anger. Sadness, anger, depression. Sadness, anger, depression. Okay. Let yourself feel it. Let yourself feel sadness, anger, and depression. I'm pretty sure this isn't the first time those emotions have shown up in our lives. Let yourself feel it. If you don't feel that way right now, imagine a situation where you would feel sadness, anger, and depression. You know?
A grief, a loss, a breakup.
Yeah. Grief, loss, breakup.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that can make you sad and depressed.
Yes. Let's name a few more. Name a few more. Let yourself
Your
feel
dog
it.
gets killed.
Your dog dying. Absolutely.
I had to flush my fish.
War and conflict. Oh, yes. What? What'd you say?
I said I had to flush my fish down the toilet.
Having to say goodbye to your pet fish.
Yeah, that would make me sad.
That would make you sad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Think about our animals. I gave my cat away to a new home earlier this year.
Defunding the police, that would make me really sad.
Okay. Defunding the police would make you sad.
Mm.
War, you know, children starving in Afghanistan. That's a recent thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Orphanages, children in orphanages. Yeah, that's sad.
Okay, scan your body. Where do you feel sadness?
Oh.
Where do you feel it? Scan your head. Scan your heart. Scan your whole body. Where do you feel sadness? You know, what do I feel?
You know what? I got to be honest with you, Donnie. The only time I really feel sad is when I see something happen. If that sounds weird, I always for predicament if something happens. Like, for instance, if I see someone like die or something, that would of course make me really, really sad. But if I don't see the actual situation happen, I probably wouldn't, it would affect me in a way, but it affects me differently. That makes me sad.
It would affect you in a way, but it affects you differently. So if I'm hearing that correctly, what that means is you would block yourself from feeling sad.
Maybe I just I have no feelings. Maybe that's something that I have to find out about as a young lady and a young woman. I mean, I wouldn't say I don't have feelings, but understanding in so many things about me as a young lady growing up and even learning, I learned the word of God a lot and my journey with the Lord and just different things.
Yes.
So there could be some things for me to say that I don't really, I wouldn't say necessarily have feelings, but I'm more of aware of other people's feelings than my own feelings. Put it that way.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you correctly, you have feelings, You just push them away and focus on other people's because that's safer.
Yeah. For instance, I'll give you an example. I'm a teacher. I'm a substitute teacher at school districts, a paraprofessional. Anyways, when I see someone cry, when I saw a kid cry, it could be an adult, but if I see that person, I automatically go to that person, right? Now, see, that's just something that my body's naturally, I think, adjusting to, learning other people's emotions and also learning their feelings as well, which is, it's tricky. It can be tricky, but.
It is really tricky. I do know this, though, in order to be so attuned to other people's sensitivities, it would have to mean you're super sensitive too. That's the only way that would be possible.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense then. That definitely makes sense.
Yeah. And you're so good at helping other people or recognizing their sadness that it's something that's you recognize really quickly in yourself. It just may be really hard to feel. Yeah. So let's just acknowledge that even feeling that your own sadness for just a second or two might be huge for you. Might be huge for you. And you mentioned, your faith here. So, imagine the sadness, Jesus might have felt, right?
Yeah, he was beaten and persecuted. He went through a lot of oppression, a lot of stuff. Yeah.
And he was really good at looking at other people's sadness too,
Yeah.
And in the end, you have to sit with your own.
Yeah.
In fact, that story of what happens to him at the end is exactly that. It's his trial. It's exactly that, yeah. So he gets to learn the gift of his own sadness. He gets to go to heaven. Yeah. So just sitting with our feelings, being able to sit with this is really a great way to strengthen our connection to our higher power, and to live his message. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So sadness, here we go. Let yourself feel sad. Just see what it feels like in your body. Go bit by bit, one breath at a time. All the difficult things in the world, and it's sad. All the people who died of COVID, it is sad. You might feel your heart sink down a little bit. Your shoulders might sink down a little bit. You might feel a need to run. You might feel a part of you trying to get away. Just honor that. Just honor it. A queasiness in your stomach, maybe. Just being able to put that into words. Like being our best friend.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Just keep breathing. Keep breathing into it. I'm glad you agree, though. That's really great. Just keep breathing. Keep breathing into it. And whatever you feel about this sadness, however you feel about it, bring it into your heart. Into your heart. The mind is all about agreement. I agree, I disagree. The heart, there is no agreement or disagreement in the heart. The heart can only agree. The heart meets you wherever you are. That's why God is love. That's how it works. So just whatever you're feeling, bring it into your heart. That sadness, bring it into your heart. The seat of compassion. And if you're willing, just slow it down. This is our real life here. The real inner life.
You want to say hi?
Oh, nice. Real deal.
This is my friend Hope. She's driving right now. We're doing DoorDash.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah, though I do want to say there's several other people here, and we are meditating, though. though. So if
Oh,
there are
I know.
sounds,
I'm not in the places to be meditating, but I
if,
decided I wanted
that's
to
okay. That's
see
okay.
if, because
I just wanted.
I was
I
having
just.
trouble doing Zoom on my computer, so I'm able to do it on the phone. So
Oh, great, great, great. Now, I just want to say, if there are sounds, though, you may want to put your microphone off
yeah.
just periodically, so people can have their experience here.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let's do some validation. That is not easy to feel. Sadness is a difficult one. So let's give ourselves some validation for these hard feelings. I love myself, whether I am happy or sad.
You said you love yourself?
Now, these are validation statements you can say to yourself as you
Oh,
feel
yeah.
your
You
feelings.
you know what I do, Donnie, when I'm alone at home or if I don't have anyone talking to, I usually read a lot. I read as much as I can but I do self-talk, and that's a really, really good validation to know that I do love myself and I love who God created me to be. But like when I don't have that right communication, even when, because I live with my parents right now, but sometimes it's hard to teach him the ways I've learned to what I've grown up. But anyways, so I self-talk to myself and it helps me a lot.
So self-talk is critical. Critical. How we talk to ourselves is just critical. And the number one person we're really teaching is ourselves, right? If we have a hard time with what we're feeling, we can't really teach our message to other people. So we really have to practice what we preach by really making space to be with our own feelings.
Yeah.
So say these to yourself. This might be part of your self-dialogue. It might not. I'm just offering these statements as a way to open up some new possibilities. So one was, I love myself, whether I am happy or sad. I support myself, whether I am happy or sad. Love is always here, or God's love is always here, whether I am happy or I am sad. I have every right to feel the happiness or the sadness that I feel. Anyone who went through what I went through would feel that way. I don't totally understand why I feel this way about my happiness or my sadness, and I don't need to. I can give it time and space and rest. And I let go of happiness. I let go of sadness. I let go of everything because love is letting go. Okay, so you see how this works. It's just making space to feel your feelings. Often we think we're feeling our feelings and we really just sit with them for like a second and then we move on to something else, or we have all these thoughts about a plan or all these things. But there's no value greater than just making the space to sit with what you feel, to just sit with it for an extended period of time. It's like literally reading the book of you, all the inner knowledge that's there. How you gonna know what it is if you don't take the time to really sit and read all the sentences? That's the importance of getting in touch with your emotions. And so this exercise can actually get even deeper. You can actually take this exercise and ask yourself, when did you feel this feeling as a child? Or finding something good about the negative emotion and something bad about the positive emotion. So we did happy and sad. So what's a good thing about being sad? What's a good thing about being sad?
You're able to, I guess, well, you're able to know, or you're able to know how to be or how to react when you're sad. You have that understanding of, um, being, what am I trying to say? You have that understanding of I guess just, I mean, everybody does naturally, you know, to be sad. You're just, you're sad. Things make you sad. So you get sad. Things make you angry, you get angry. When things make you happy, you get happy.
So a good thing about being sad is that it's just human. It's just human. Okay, and then the happy one. What's a bad thing about being happy?
A bad thing about being happy?
Yeah.
Maybe a bad thing about being happy. Maybe bad thing about being happy. Expressing, well, I wouldn't say expressing too much emotion of happiness, because it's always good to be happy, but I can't really think of a bad thing about being happy.
Well, let's sit with that for a second. Let's sit with
I know that's a hard question. Yeah, you think about it.
Yeah.
About being happy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it could be overpowering at times. And, you know, you might be happy for some just no reason. You don't even know why you're happy. Sometimes I've felt like that before. And I always ask myself, where does this happiness come from? You know, like I'll just be laughing out of nowhere. And I'm like, why am I laughing? You know, and then I tell myself, well, maybe God wants me to laugh at this specific time. I always use my higher power to be able to help me through, I guess, different things that I might be going through in life. But
yeah, and a great part about that is seeing our emotions in a wider light allows us to channel those messages. So if you can see that being happy can be overpowering, sometimes that means you got to learn how to temper. You got to learn to stay in control even when you're happy.
Yeah.
Sometimes being super crazy happy makes it hard to stay in control.
No, you're right. Like I said, I've been happy before, and I'll just be laughing out of nowhere, and I'm just like, where does this come from? Like going back to what I was saying earlier, Donnie, about my emotions. See, I think with me as like, I act on like a natural instinct or on impulse. So I'm learning that in many ways. But basically, I like, if I see something sad, like I said, it will make me sad. If I see something that's going to make me happy, then I will probably automatically kind of be happy, you know? That's just kind of how.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So a term for acting on impulse is called reacting.
Reacting.
That's called reacting. You are reacting to things.
Yes.
Which is, you know, you're having these emotions because reactions tend to be very strong. Okay. But in order to have a reaction, you would have had to have feelings underneath there already. It just means you just don't tap in. That's quite normal. Human beings, a lot of us don't tap into our feelings. So hopefully these exercises give you the opportunity to start learning how to tap in, so that way you can feel these things when you're not having a reaction. You can just be with these feelings you're having for you. And then, you know, then maybe when the reactions happen, they're not that big a deal. Yeah, you're right. And just feel more happiness in your life, more peace. You bring more peace into your life that way. Okay, so this is all about just getting in touch with our feelings in all kinds of ways. You know, not just thinking about our feelings, but really letting ourselves experience them through our bodies, and just having some more open-mindedness about what they feel like, and exploring the opposite emotions, so you can shake up all these normal feeling patterns. Okay, so that's today's exercise this week, emotional meditation. Please practice. There are a lot of emotions. No emotion is just the one or done. We have to feel all our feels so that we can heal. All feelings are important. So please practice. Practice all your feelings. You can try one a day during this, and you'd get through 14 emotions in 1 week, and you'd learn a whole lot about yourself if you did that, right? And then let's practice this, because next week we're going to do the body scan meditation. And the body scan meditation is actually going to take this exercise and take it to an even deeper level, where we're going to sit with our feelings for the better part of an hour next week. Okay, so you can really, 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 really see what it's like to validate your bodily inner emotional experience. Okay, so please practice. Please practice.
Okay.
And on that note, I want to say thank you all so much for your time and your attention and your participation. I really appreciate it.
No, she should be telling you thank you. I think you should help her. She needs help, you know. Please.
I'm sorry. She needs help, you said?
Yeah, she does need help. Please help her, okay? Keep talking.
What is? I do apologize, but you only showed up in the conversation just now.
Oh, really?
Miss Allison here is speaking, and she didn't mention she needed help. You just suddenly said that.
Yeah, she's my friend. She's my best friend.
You know, this is an advice info on for Zoom. He's giving me
That's
advice.
right.
Yeah,
I know. Probably from a different part of the world.
Yeah, I am not crisis care. I am not.
Not like you.
Someone else's job, you would be to call a help center or someone like that to get those kind of resources, or to set up a regular appointment. You're right. My job is really just to provide information about feelings. So hopefully this was helpful. And hopefully, if you need more assistance, please go and consider some counseling, some therapy, the wonderful resources out there to talk to some other wonderful people to get you that help. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I enjoyed it, Donnie. Thank you so much. I have to get off of Zoom now, but thank you. I hope to join your Zoom again.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, too. And God bless.
God bless you, too.
Okay. Take care.
You too.
And Antoinette says, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. Take care and wonderful weekend. Enjoyed this. All right. Thank you, Antoinette. Thank you so much. And everybody, please practice. Feelings are not easy. Feelings are not easy. Teaching a class where people suddenly show up and say things is not easy. So please practice. Practice, right? None of us have to be good at this. We just have to try yet again one more time as life goes on. And we keep learning, okay? The heart keeps growing. The heart keeps growing. The heart keeps growing. Okay. So I appreciate you, Antoinette, also. Okay, and Corina, wherever you are out there in the world, I appreciate you also. Okay. Have a nice weekend. Have a nice week. Have a nice weekend, and then hopefully I'll see you next week. Okay. All right, everyone.